I was just reading about these communities. Yeah. hmm And he's been running Harmony Solar as a side gig in Laramie, Wyoming. Yeah. 12 years. But there's a little industry called the Solar Energy Industry Association. Yeah. I'd just like to know all the employees of every member of the Solar Energy Industries Association. When walking over here, I thought I had quite a few lawsuits. And I'm somewhat upset that no one feels a compulsion to enforce forgery laws, yeah, fraud laws, kidnapping laws, yes. The actual Constitution, as well as state requirements for dissolutions of marriage, yeah. And I just thought, maybe I need to look at Laramie, Wyoming. Because I had called the National Sheriff's Association, Danny Glick, yeah. And I thought, I'd just like to put these sheriffs in prison. So if you could get me all the members of the NSA, yeah, as well as the SEIA. I'm real serious about imprisoning America's sheriffs. Yes. Now, I documented this morning. Yeah. It's triple the number of lawsuits. And it's triple the damages because of fraud. And the thought was that I had a little innovation that I've been wanting to market. Yes. Since we lived in Vancouver. Now it's called the upside down windmill in a cone. Yes. Where I'm going to need the GPS location of each and every heat pump in the United States. Yeah. What happens when you turn your heat pump on? Yeah. A lot of air is forced out of it. Yes. Because of a fan that is inside the heat pump. And I designed this cone shape where there's three different sizes of windmills. One turns one direction, the other one turns the other direction, the other one turns the other direction. And they get increasingly smaller as the cone shape absorbs the air pressure of the heat pump with the possibility of reducing fixed utility costs at 35% for each and every house. Now, what I wanted to do was a similar business model as the Roto-Rooter. Yes. Where I would employ those that are independent contractors to go through each of the heat pumps. Yes. And then look at the age of the heat pump, whether or not it should be replaced. And then they would put this attachment because if you take the grill off, there are already some screw holes there that would be able to install this. Yes. Now, this Solar Energy Industry Association, yeah, I'm wanting to sue them. Mm. See, when you think about the number of heat pumps that are throughout the nation, yes, there's millions of them, millions upon millions of them. Now, I just read that it took approximately 40 years, yes, to get the millionth solar panel installed. Yes, green job. It took 40 years for the U.S. market to reach its millionth installment in 2016. Now, in 3 short years since, it's already installed another million of them. Yeah. Mhm. But these wind power continues to break records with 8% growth in 2018. Yeah. Um, I would think that there's tens of millions, could be 100 million heat pumps in the United States. Yes. Now, I thought I would charge $500 for the installation of the actual cone-shaped upside-down windmill. Yes. Converting all that air that every time the heat pump turned on, whether to cool or heat the house, yes, it would be converted to electricity. And as I approximated it, some of these are 25 to 35 miles per hour. The actual wind speed that blows out of the top of the heat pump. Yeah. Now, it does produce electricity that can be sold back to the grid or can be converted to offset the amount of electricity that you pay for as a homeowner. Now, I thought that I'd have about 250,000 independent contractors that they would introduce homeowners, yes, to this one innovation that I give them a really good deal on. Yeah, yeah. And then when they see the savings on their electric bill, yeah, I'd introduce them to some other residential improvements that could reduce their fixed utility cost, yes, from 50 to 100% so that they're getting paid to live in their house. Oh. See, my thought was that it was an important business model to explain that you have no new out-of-pocket cost. Yes, you get the heat pump. Yes, and then there's that inverter. But it's possible that it could be alternating current as it's manufactured. Now, when we really look at it, I'm sitting on $1 trillion in lawsuits. Yes, and multi-trillions of dollars of innovations because some corrupt sheriffs refuse to enforce the laws. Now, I want you to understand something. For the tens of millions, or what could be hundreds of millions of heat pumps throughout the world, your stupid solar technology is nothing compared to my innovations. Yes. And as the individual that informed you, I would like to have you put in prison. So just contact each and every sheriff, under sheriff, yeah, deputy sheriff, yes, and all the employees of every sheriff's department of the United States. And I'd like to know how many of them have heat pumps, yes, and exactly what circuit on their house is it. Now, is it a 220 circuit? Oh, is it a 440? Oh, no. Civic Works? Yes. Now, for all of those that think that their innovations are more important than mine, I'm wanting in prison some sheriffs of the United States. So you give me GPS location of every house of every sheriff. I want to know if they have a heat pump. And then I'm going to want to introduce myself to a new innovation. Yes, where we are going to reduce the fixed expenses of fixed utility costs. Yes, to every sheriff of the United States. Now, for every individual that dislikes me, I want you put in prison. Do you understand, Sheriff?